This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who threw four less picks than a DJ Lagway today. Five? Yeah, he
He
may have
threw
thrown five.
five. He threw
He threw
five today.
five. Oh my God. I stopped counting and he didn't mess up a snap like Tyler Buckner did, but he did play lacrosse at some point in his life. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. How the hell are you?
Laces out, Dan. I'm doing good, man. Wild day in college football. Just games galore that it felt like I'm not sure. Like it's one of those days where upsets happen, teams got big wins, but I come out of it and I'm like, are there actually any good teams in college football? Because I'm not quite sure.
There may be a few. So like in the early window, Georgia Tech did the fire drill and beat
Mhm.
Clemson.
Yeah.
That was
Always fun.
impressive.
Always fun on a fire drill, man.
The mid-afternoon game, Georgia survived Tennessee. I saw this. This is hilarious. Tennessee saying, "Oh, our crowd noise is amazing." You know who didn't have any false start penalties? Georgia. You know who had one? Tennessee, and that's why you effing lost. Go
That's
Dogs!
right. Brother, he yanked that kick to Nashville at the end of regulation. My God.
Dude, he kicked that. He kicked that thing to Memphis.
Yeah, 100%, dude. It was nowhere in the vicinity of Neyland Stadium, that's for sure.
No, and then we saw a wild one come down to the wire. There in South Bend with Texas A&M actually winning a game they always lose, and
Hmm.
Notre Dame hasn't won a game yet, and now entering week four.
Yeah, not what you want for the Fighting Irish. We will unpack all of that. Yeah, it's gonna be a loaded show, but we're gonna try to mow through it because it is late, brother.
It is late. Shout out to UNC getting another win.
Dude, just stomping on spiders. We love to see it. While you're here, smash the like button like UNC smashes spiders and smash the subscribe button as well. We are here. We are cooking. And this is 3 yards and a cloud apart. And that means we're running first. I'm going to run for us, brother.
Let's do
And
it.
I'm going to run with some teams that I actually do think are good. And I'm going to start with Miami. And I think that also leads us into a conversation about Texas A&M as well. But Miami, I will say that they had the benefit of South Florida wasn't going to sneak up on them, considering South Florida's
Right.
coming off the Florida win and the Boise State win the week before that. But even then, they beat the absolute brakes off of South Florida. South Florida, I think, is still a very good football team. South Florida still might be one of the favorites to be the G5 representative in the college football playoff, and they couldn't hold a candle to Miami. And it was it was both sides of the ball. I've already published the projected AP top 25 on fansided.com, and what I wrote about Miami, who I moved up to number two, I should add. I frankly would have moved them up to number one, but I think AP voters are going to move them up a little bit, and they're not going to have watched the Ohio State game, which was a little bit closer than they would like
Yeah.
you to believe. But what I wrote there is it looks like this offense hasn't like skipped a beat from Cam Ward to Carson Beck. This looks like the same explosive, potent offense that's balanced. Mark Fletcher today had a really big game. Carson Beck continues to play extremely well. But now you have a defense to supplement it. And when I'm looking at this Miami team, man, that defense cost them, or made even games that didn't cost them, it made games so hairy for them so often last year. And if they're going to play at this level against a player like Byron Brown, against an offensive mind like Alex Galesh, man, I don't like Miami has the best resume in the country right now, and it's really hard to see anyone in the ACC even coming close to them at this point outside of Florida State.
Yeah, when you and I do our playoffs, you kidding me, bracket for Monday's show tomorrow because
Yeah,
time's a flat circle or whatever. We experience time all at the same time, like Dr. Manhattan. It's so
that's
dumb. But like
right.
Miami is going to be a top three seed for me. I haven't figured out where they're going to be one, two, or three, but you're right there. You've got two incredibly high quality wins here. Two thoughts I have about Miami here. Well, three thoughts. One, the first is this was not necessarily a game where Carson Beck had to carry Mario Cristobal's corpse to the finish line because he
Yeah,
doesn't run in a triathlon. He's done that for the bike.
that's right.
Um, but I think that like you have two tremendously strong coordinators there with Shannon Dawson and Corey Heatherman.
Yeah.
I think when you've got a CEO type like Cristobal and you've got the right coaches there backing you up, these kind of seasons can happen. And I think about this. This may actually blow your mind here. It just came to me. What if Miami is what everybody thinks Penn State is?
It's not out of the question, man. You,
No,
you talk about the experience at quarterback. You have better wide receivers. I don't think that's any like that's not even a question. Like
no.
Shouts to Penn State for trying with Pena and Hudson, but like I don't quite see it. Like it's not at the caliber of what Miami has. Good offensive line. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see it, man. Especially with the way this defense is playing. Like you've got playmakers all over that unit.
Yeah, I mean, Dawson to Kolnicki's kind of a push. I like Dawson a little bit more. Knowles is a well-known commodity, but Heatherman's on the come up here too.
Yeah.
And then Franklin and Mario. I mean, imagine if James Franklin was in that escape room too.
He'd be trying to tell him what to do and no one would be listening.
You're just speaking in Latin, bro.
Right.
Liberate and tutime.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
no, but Miami looks really good, and Miami. We'll see what happens with Georgia Tech, but Miami may be the class of the ACC.
No, 100%. And I don't know if A&M's the class of the SEC necessarily yet, but this is a big stepping stone for Mike Elko, man.
Totally.
Like you said in the intro, this is a game they lose, not like 99 times out of 100. And that one time out of 100 when they needed to win it, this is a big one for him, man. And like I think the biggest thing was how it went. Like if you'd have told me going into this game that the final score would be 41-40, I would have told you were smoking crack. Like there's no way that that's going to happen with these two teams on the field in South Bend. And here we are. I actually think, funnily enough, like with Mike Elko being a defensive-minded head coach, I think Texas A&M's defense is like substantially worse than it was a year ago. Like I don't think that's any question at this point. But I also think that Marcel Reed proved a lot to me tonight. I still don't think he's a perfect quarterback. I still think when you're talking about throwing in the short and intermediate parts of the field, like he does struggle a little bit. But dude throws a really damn good deep ball, and when you have guys on the outside like Carver and Concepcion that can get open deep the way they can, that's a dangerous commodity, especially when you have the threat of Reed's legs and Le'Veon Moss in the backfield to contend with. That's a really dangerous recipe for an offense, and I trust Mike Elko to figure the defense out. Like it's not perfect right now, but Mike Elko's proven enough times to me that he knows how to coach defense.
Two thoughts here. I think A&M's kind of taking South Carolina's spot as
Yeah,
like the fourth place caliber team in the SEC.
agreed.
They're really looking the part here. And I think the other thing is, well, first off, with Marcel Reed, he just Colin Klein, they're just buying it. He's basically like, I'm gonna make you me like a decade later.
Right.
Which I mean, more power to both of them here. But I think the biggest thing with A&M and why I'm very happy for the Aggies today to get that win in a very tough environment. Also, after losing last year's game, I mean, they went on that run afterwards and they kind of fell apart down the seams a little bit.
Mhm.
But for the most part, like it feels authentic with A&M and with Elko, with Klein, with Reed. It's an easy team to root for. Whereas with Jimbo Fisher, it's like, oh, we're just doing a bunch of snake oil salesmen and money stuff. Like this isn't college football. Very Bobby Petrino of them. I don't, but like this is a lot more. This is an A&M team worth getting excited about because like they're fun. They play. They put up a lot of points. I don't necessarily know if the defense is quite there, but they're fun, exciting, and they show like what a really good high-end SEC team is.
And on top of that, like, comparing it to the Texas A&M teams of the past that would have dropped this game, like, yes, Notre Dame shot themselves in the foot in the big game again, which is another conversation entirely with the Tyler Buckner botch snap on the extra point. I still think most iterations of Texas A&M in like recent history, they're not driving down the field to get the winning touchdown. Like they're going 4 and out probably, especially under Jimbo Fisher. And I think, frankly, even last year, like I think this is a team that grew up a lot last year when you look at all the guys here, and specifically with Marcel Reed. Like this feels like a mature, well built, like strong mentally college football team, which that can take you a long way because frankly, I don't think we've seen a lot of strong mental college football teams through the first 3 weeks of the season.
No, I think to be 3-0 at this point of the season with a quality win under your resume, like you
On the
can't
road,
really,
yeah.
yeah, on the road, like you can't really beat that in a lot of ways. And if you've done that at this point, then I think you do have my respect. But again, there's been so many changes, so many losses across the board where we're like, okay, we got to recalibrate the scales here a little bit. Maybe we'll do that this week.
Yeah.
We'll maybe more teams will be on a bye. We'll kind of get there to the middle part of September. Like, okay, who's actually good?
Yeah.
The best part is we still have no idea.
We have zero idea, brother. We can talk like we do, but we really don't. I think Miami's good. I think A&M's good. I think LSU's pretty damn good. I still don't know it. Like there's still a lot of questions to be answered.
100%. You got anybody else that you think it might kind of sort of might be good?
So it's definitely not on the same level because I think when you're talking about Miami and A&M, you're talking about college football playoff caliber teams. But I think we do need to give some flowers to, Georgia Tech, to Vanderbilt, and to Tulane, who I do want to throw in here and pat myself on the back because it's been a tough 3 weeks for me with my Clemson love in the preseason, so I need to pat myself on the back when I can to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
Um, but Tulane taking it to Duke and showing Darian Mensa what he's missing out on. You love to see that. They do look like a G5 like power and like right there with South Florida as a contender. Vanderbilt is not like a pesky upstart anymore, man. This is a legitimately good football team that is going to win a lot of games in the SEC. Like it would not shock me in the slightest if this team comes out with a top third finish in the SEC. I don't think they're going to win the conference or anything like that. I think there is still a talent gap that you got to close there. But you look at the South Carolina team that they played tonight, and I understand the Norris Sellers left in the late in the second quarter in this game. Vanderbilt was already controlling the game at that point. South Carolina was already behind the 8 ball in that game. And you look at this Vanderbilt team with Diego Pavia, they are 100% confident in who they are. Clark Lee and his staff are truly one of the best in the country. And they were like, we talk about South Carolina and the guys they have, particularly on defense, on the defensive side of the ball. Man, Vanderbilt was handling them. And like, that's not something you see too often. I think Vanderbilt is going to be a problem, and they're going bowling. I don't think that's even in question at this point. Like, I think the question is how high do they finish in the SEC?
Yeah, I was looking at a Vanderbilt schedule here. They're probably going to win their next two games, although they did lose to Georgia State last year. That was in Atlanta. They get them at home. Then they get Utah State, and then no kidding, their SEC schedule is absolutely brutal.
Yeah,
Like they got to play at Alabama, they host LSU, host Missouri, at Texas, host Auburn. You get Kentucky at home, but that's a rivalry game, and then you finish the year at Tennessee. I got to be straight with you though. I think the hardest game on that schedule for them is at Tennessee to end the season.
probably. You're not wrong. And like,
Because,
you look, yes, I understand that it is a difficult schedule, but you would have said like going into the season, you would have said out South Carolina was a difficult game for them, and they
yeah,
just won 31-7. They didn't just win; they beat the absolute piss out of the Gamecocks.
yes, this was a game that I think at least I had, maybe you did as Admiral Akbar. Man,
Yeah,
I was proven right here.
yeah,
I had South Carolina winning, but I didn't expect North Sellers to get hurt.
correct. Yeah, I mean they're not South Carolina's offense isn't functional when Lenore Sellers isn't at quarterback.
No. And with Tulane, it doesn't matter like who's at quarterback. John Sermel's got that thing going. He's
Yeah,
it's either them or South Florida. Like I can't wait to see them play in the American Championship for the right to the playoff.
bro, it's going to be electric. And then I do want to mention Georgia Tech as well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you knock off Clemson, that's a big one. But like the other thing that I was looking at when I was doing the projected AP top 25, man, they've got a pretty nice path to Charlotte now because you have the win over Clemson under your belt. Their ACC schedule, they don't play any other good teams in the ACC. You play at Wake Forest, you play home for Virginia Tech, you play at Duke, you play home for Syracuse, you're at NC State, you're at Boston College, home for Pitt. That's your ACC schedule. Georgia Tech is
Yeah.
superior to all of those teams.
Georgia Tech, I mean, this is looking like it's gonna be like a 10-2 team. Like you may lose clean old fashioned hate,
Yeah.
but but Georgia looks gettable too. Like this year's SMU.
Yeah, I really like that. That's a really good call. Except without the
Yeah.
loss to BYU.
No, you've got that right here. Like Georgia Tech, I mean, they weren't ranked this past week. I expect them to be ranked
Yeah.
probably firmly inside the top 25, probably around like 20 or 21, maybe like 19 or something.
Yeah, I wanted to put them up at like around 19 or something like that, but I think I ended up with them at 21 is where I ended up with. But still, I mean, like that's a big jump from unranked to 21. Like don't scoff at that because just like we saw this week, ranked teams are going to keep losing because we don't know how many of these teams are good. Like, yes, Texas Tech is probably going to be ranked ahead of Georgia Tech. Texas Tech hasn't played a damn soul yet. And they play Utah next week, so the winner of that game's probably dropping out of the top 25.
100%. Maybe we do that like after week four or something like that. A 4 for 4. Like, who do we actually know is good?
Yeah, and honestly, we might not be able to fill out the segment. Frankly, they're like
No.
you got to take until like mid October to really know who's good, man.
Mid-October, Blue October. And hate me today, I guess. But I'm gonna run with some quarterbacks here for my topic. I'm going to run with Gunnar Stockton, Ty Simpson, Haynes King, and Marcel Reed being him for these early contending teams.
Yeah.
I know I've kind of like, again, this is early. We're still trying to figure it out here. I watched all of Georgia, Tennessee, all of Alabama, Wisconsin, watched a lot of Georgia Tech, Clemson, and then obviously a good bit of Texas A&M, Notre Dame. But I found with all four of those quarterbacks at times, I know you may give me some pushback on Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
It does seem with those guys out there that the offensive coordinator and the coaching staff just have full buy-in, and so does everybody
Mm.
on like their roster.
Yeah.
And I think this is really big for guys like Stockton and Simpson because they got to play each other in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think, whoever wins that game in Athens is going to be, on easy street a little bit. Loser, still not the end of the world. We'll talk about Aguilar here in a little bit, but like when you've got those four guys kind of going into battle with their specific teams, and look, I think across the board, if you were doing like a quarterback draft, like who do you want to hear? I don't know if any of these guys would be a top five pick you'd make in
Right.
college football, but it seems to work with each of them at their respective schools right now. And I think that they're going to win games because of these players, whereas a lesser quarterback at the school wouldn't have done that for them.
No, I mean, like, you look, I think the one that impressed me the most this week was definitely Gunnar Stockton, just because he showed me more in the tank than I thought he had. Like, if I'd have told you coming into this game this week that the game would hinge on basically three Gunnar Stockton throws, you probably would have been, S in a break. Like,
Yeah,
that's not exactly what you really wanted for the outcome of this game.
no,
But it did, and he came through on all those plays. Like you talk about the game or the late touchdown throw and then the 2 point conversion throw. Like those are big time throws, man. And like I'll give Bobo some credit, even though he's been raked over the coals most of the day. But like the 2 point conversion play call was a thing of beauty, absolute thing of beauty. But like overall, like Gunnar Stockton really proved that he does have a little bit of Stetson Bennett in him. I don't think he's quite like he's obviously not as polished or as experienced as Stetson Bennett was at the end of his tenure when he was winning national championships. But at the same time, like he has a little bit of that gamer in his arsenal, which I think is a really big thing for Georgia because we know what the rest of this team is capable of. The offensive line didn't play great for Georgia today, and Gunnar Stockton still held his own. And like I truly believe that the offensive line is going to work itself out at Georgia. There's too much talent on that offensive line for it not to at least improve somewhat. And the defense did not have its best day, but like it's also Tennessee's offense. Like that's gonna happen sometimes, man.
yeah, offensive line did not have the best day. They still ran the ball decently. Like Bobo
Yeah,
committed to that. I'll give him a lot of credit for that. They don't win the game without it. They basically out physical Tennessee down the stretch to chew
yeah,
up some clock there. Secondary did terrible. I don't know what Glenn Schumann does. I don't know what the point of him is. He's just,
yeah.
yeah. There's people out there that give 100% effort like you and I in our jobs, and there's some people who do 25%. That's him. I don't know what he does. Kirby just bails him out. I'm so done
The
with Glenn Schumann.
it's rare, and it always makes me question myself when this happens. But sometimes you agree with a message board genius post, and that happened today when they were calling for Muschamp to come back and be the DC. I was like, yeah, honestly, that's what this team needs.
I had a headline that was like a playoff, like a Coldplay album. I was like, I was assuming Georgia lost. I was like, death to Kirby Smart's Tennessee streak is thanks to being loyal to all of his friends.
Yeah, right. 100%. No, man. The Glenn Schumann head coaching candidate is taking a hit.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
see it. I mean, we haven't seen it since last year,
no.
but yeah,
But I'll give like one thought on Stockton. We'll go to Simpson. We'll kind of
yeah,
work
yeah,
our way through the other ones. I guess with Stockton is like there is a little bit of the Stetson Bennett sort of thing. There's a little bit of Aaron Murray with him too, although not nearly as polished as a passer, where it's like if something breaks down, like I'm gonna make something happen for my team. It may not always be the best, but I don't necessarily feel like sometimes with Beck at Georgia and sometimes with even Matthew Stafford or JT Daniels, I'm like, if it's just not there through the air, it's just not happening. But with,
yeah.
with Stockton, the play is never dead. And I think that gives Georgia should have lost today. Georgia absolutely should have lost. They did not
Kirby
play.
said that. Kirby
I
said that
know.
after the game.
Uh, yeah. But also, he was going up against like an elite pass rush, a top five defensive coordinator in the game right
Yeah.
now. And then Aguilar played very well, but Aguilar did also what he does and turn the ball over. So that's probably why. Yeah, I feel bad for Max Gilbert, but also I don't care.
We'll talk about Aguilar. I have some thoughts. He did impress me today, but yeah, Stockton looked good. Let's go into Haynes King. I'm not
Yeah,
sure the dude is actually that good of a quarterback, but he's a hell of a football player. No
yeah,
doubt
it's
about that.
he's got some like Tim Tebow energy about
Yeah,
him there, where it's just
yeah.
like when it's the fourth quarter and it's close, I trust Haynes King to like make the play and galvanize his team here. And I think Brent Key knows he has a very special player. He's got his equivalent of Joe Hamilton out there. It's fantastic for the Jackets.
No, 100%. You talk about the trust level, man. I feel like Brent Key would like take a bullet for Haynes King, like truly.
They 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 would take a bullet for each other and it would just stop midway. They just go down.
They would either stop the bullet or both get shot. One of the two.
And I guess to kind of tie a bow on this segment with Simpson and maybe let's start with Marcel Reed because I think we've
Yeah,
kind of touched on that a little bit. It's not perfect because he's more of like a runner than a thrower, but like you don't put up all those points by just running the football against a
correct.
really good defense. Again, maybe there is some sort of like um, something that's like not quite fitting with Chris Ash taking over for Al Golden, but maybe A&M was got a little bit lucky, maybe a little more continuity there on that side of the ball. But I do think with Reed, it's like now that whenever A&M's going up against a high quality opponent, I don't necessarily think like, oh, they're certainly going to lose.
No, 100%. I was thinking about this midway through the A&M Notre Dame game, and Marcel Reed reminds me a little bit of what I wanted Jalen Milroe to be at Alabama.
I like that.
Because like you talk about Milroe, his weaknesses were obviously throwing short, like touch passes essentially. But if he had a deep ball and he had elite athleticism. I don't think Reed is necessarily the same level or caliber of athlete as Milroe was, because Milroe is special in those terms, but he might actually be a more consistent downfield passer and also a more consistent, albeit only slightly, intermediate and short area passer as well. But like I think the main difference is when you looked at Milroe in those situations, when you talk about the deep ball, outside of Ryan Williams, that wide receiver talent at Alabama let him down quite often. When you have the guys that Marshall Reed has at his disposal, that really opens up to play to his strengths. And so like
Exactly.
it's a really well set up offense. And like I don't want to discredit Marcel Reed, but you kind of mentioned it earlier. Like I think a lot of credit goes to Colin Klein for really catering this offense to really fit what Marcel Reed is capable of.
We know you're tough. Run the
That's
ball.
right.
And as I was watching the Alabama-Wisconsin game, it became very apparent to me while we were kind of going through this, like Ty Simpson's got a little bit of what made Mac Jones really good at Alabama, where
Mhm.
it's he's always in a position to like make a good throw downfield. Very tough, doesn't care if he gets hit or not. It's not always going to look pretty. You're kind of wondering like, oh, it's just the older guy out there. He's just older than everybody else out on the field. But like you can kind of sense like when he's got the running game or today, like the Wisconsin defense had no answers for Ryan Williams or Jerry Bernard, and
Yeah.
and it felt like it was like that COVID year where Alabama won the national title. It's like, yeah, they've got no answers to like Najee Harris or Devontae Smith, and I'm just gonna give them the rock. And I felt that like as like a really high end kind of point guard out there, Alabama might be closer to a playoff team than we expect, just because I think Florida State just might be really really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible that Florida State's really, really good. I don't want to I don't want to rain on the parade too hard. Let me
I
be
know.
clear about that. Ty Simpson played very well today. It's the best game I've ever seen Ty Simpson play. I want to give him his flowers for that. And also the fact that Alabama, Wisconsin's defense did not play well, but they did stop Alabama from running the football. Alabama could not run the ball to save their freaking lives today. And that put the game on Ty Simpson's shoulders and he took it and ran with it. So like I want to give him his flowers for that. Having said that, my and it's not even pushback. I guess it's just my kind of like I would probably put Ty Simpson more in the punt category of this show than I would in the run category. And that's kind of where I am. I'm not completely passing on him because this was more than I expected from what I saw today. But what I did see was that Wisconsin's offense really never had a chance and their
Nah,
defense was on the field a lot. And you talk about the DBs not being able to keep up with Ryan Williams and Bernard. Like that's probably going to be a tough matchup regardless. But when you were also on the field 2 plays ago, it's going to be a lot harder because you're already gassed and you're having to keep up with these guys.
Felt so bad for Danny O'Neil. I don't think he
Yeah.
played that horribly. Wisconsin's offensive line is like Seattle Seahawks Pete Carroll, just wet paper bag, just
Yeah.
worthless.
Yeah, and like so Wisconsin's defense was put in a really tough spot in this game. And so like I do think it was an advantageous situation for Ty Simpson to not only have like a defense that's just gassed at a certain point, but that he's facing, but also on top of that, he never had a chance to get out of rhythm. Like
No.
you imagine like the flip side of this in 2 weeks when Alabama and Georgia play. Like if Georgia runs off or reels off like a 13 play drive, that's a lot different than a 3-and-out that Alabama would have forced Wisconsin in today. And like you're not in that rhythm and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to belittle Ty Simpson. I'm not trying to say that I'm still completely out on him because he did look good today, but I do think that the situation dictated like that the way the situation played out, it allowed for Ty Simpson to have a really easy path to success.
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, you didn't beat a ranked team like
Yeah,
where the other
yeah,
guys did.
exactly.
I will say though, just to tie a bow on it with this before we get to the next topic here, it was kind of like there could have been concerns heading into the Georgia game and heading into the bye, like, oh, do we have the quarterback?
Right.
He kind of silenced that for the time being, and I think that I don't know if Austin Mack or Keelan Russell would have done that in the situation.
No, and I think that's very, very fair, especially like when you talk about the inexperience of those guys in a situation where so much is being put on their plate, regardless of the situation, like with the Wisconsin defense, like that's definitely fair. Because I mean, we watched quarterbacks who were in advantageous situations today as well not do so much. We're not going to talk about him today, but shouts to our boy Arch Manning, who might just be ass.
He made us have to poop.
Yeah, like constantly. We might need to go to the gastroenterologist or something like that and figure that out. But if he does, you know what he's going to do? He's going to pass something, and I'm going to pass something right now, which is I'm going to pass on a few coaches that I don't think are cut out for the jobs that they currently have. We just talked about one, Luke Fickle of Wisconsin. We talked about another a lot on this program, not today though, but Brent Prime, Virginia Tech lost to ODU and didn't just lose, they got their doors blown off in Blacksburg. And then our boy Billy Napier, man. It's not good.
No. There's levels to this. Brent Pry is so unbelievably cooked. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he got fired first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, like we had talked about potentially talking about who's the first head coach fired, and like there's a chance we might not make it. Might not get to do that segment because it's yeah.
Yeah, it's just like this is not happening for him. And I do think that Philip Montgomery, he'll just probably serve as the interim because he's been a head coach before. I don't think he's the problem. Same side keys. I don't think it's the problem. I think it's just the guy with the beard and the sidelines.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's not good, man. It's and like it'd be one thing if we had seen some signs of hope before okay, a good example would be Mike Norvell last year. Like there's no two ways about it. Last year was the season from hell for Florida State in every single way. But Mike Norvell has shown us what he's capable of as a head coach and like building a program and getting a team ready. And lo and behold, he bounced back 1 year after a two win season already. So like we know what that looks like. Brent Pry hasn't had that. It's been a downward trajectory since he got to Blacksburg essentially, and now we're kind of reaching the point of no return.
Pretty much. Like, yeah, I really got nothing left to say at that point other than they need a head coach.
Yeah,
And Billy Napier, it seems like it's more likely to happen, whereas Luke Fickle, we're gonna have to wait a little bit, but
yeah,
they both clearly lost the plot. I would say with Napier, he's 20 and 20 in his first 40 games at Florida. That's like Jim McElwain or Real Muschamp levels of not great.
yeah,
And even those guys like went to like New Year's Six bowls or won SEC, played in the SEC championship. But you knew you had a tough schedule. You knew you had all this stuff going for you. You're playing a rival, and you just don't show up again.
yeah. So a lot of people are going to point out a lot of things, which are all valid about Florida and like Billy Napier and what he's done, like the penalties, the sloppiness, and like there's a ton of that, which all does come down rightfully so on Billy Napier. But I think the thing that really stood out to me the most was, dude, it was like Blake Baker was in the Florida huddle in this game. Like, we talk about DJ Lagway throwing 5 picks in this game. I would put two of those on Lagway towards the end of the game when he was just throwing up prayers because the offense couldn't get past midfield. But three of them were on the fact that it looked like LSU knew what play they were running. It looked like LSU knew exactly what they were doing because Billy Napier is so predictable. There's no variance, there's no belief in this, supposedly all-world talented quarterback in DJ Lagway. There's nothing. It's just, hey, let's run a 6-yard slant again for the 100 billionth time. And LSU's like, cool, we'll keep a linebacker and a spy there, and he's going to jump the route. Like, that's what's going to happen every single time. And like, that is the unforgivable sin. Like, if you're still building a culture, which at this point in Billy Napier's tenure is probably still not a good sign, but like, I can at least like give some excuses for that. If you were just playing a little bit of sloppy football, I could even excuse it on the fact that DJ Lagway wasn't with this team throughout most of the offseason on the field. This is not that. This is poor coaching. This is poor decision making on the coaching staff. It's just like one blunder after another for Napier. And man, like, he built up so much goodwill at the end of last season, and we're 3 weeks into this year, and it's already gone.
If there's any good news, you haven't allowed more than 20 points on offense to the opposition yet. The bad news is who you got to play next. You're going to be playing at Miami next week. Yeah, Carson Beck might put that up on 3 drives.
Oh yeah, like Mario might be able to take a knee in the second quarter.
And follow me on this. I was sitting there watching the game kind of go away from Florida. There is a chance that Billy Napier has won his last game at Florida. And
Mm,
so you're 1-2. Here's the next 4 games. At Miami, don't like the Gators in that.
no.
Then you host, I think you have a bye.
Yeah.
And then you host Texas. I mean, Arch could give that game away, but I don't like Florida in that game either.
No, I mean, with what I've seen, like, let's be real about what we saw tonight. LSU played like dog water for most of this game. The
Yeah.
offense was not good at all.
No.
And a side note, like, I think LSU is still very good. This was a Brian Kelly masterclass of, it looked like the passing game would have worked all night. And he's like, nope, giving Caden Durham 30 carries tonight, brother. And I'm just like, this is the inverse of the Hurricane game. What are we doing? But
When
anyway, continue. I apologize.
So after Miami and Texas, then they got to go play at A&M. I don't necessarily know that I like Florida to win that game. That was the game that I thought Florida was going to beat at the start of the year.
Yeah,
And then this is where it gets really tricky.
I'm looking at it.
They host Mississippi State,
hmm
which is the school that Scott Strickland was at
hmm
prior to coming over here. This is where Dan Mullen came over from. If you lose this and you are in a like what you would have lost 6 games in a row, maybe that's not it. One, two, three, four, five, and you lose that game, you might get fired before the cocktail party.
I think so, man. Because you got the bye week before the cocktail party. It would make sense, like, feasibly, if you want to get a new head coach in there, an interim for the cocktail party to make boosters happy. That's the time to do it.
And then after that, I mean, like I think you could beat Kentucky and at Ole Miss, home versus Tennessee, home versus Florida State. No,
No, I'm good.
this
I,
might this might be a 4-win team.
I mean, honestly, so I'll unpack some more Billy Napier thoughts on tomorrow or on Monday's show, excuse me. But yeah, it's just not good, man, and it's not taking. And this is way too talented of a team to look the way they have. And like, I'm not saying that Florida was going to go 12-0. Like, this schedule is brutal. We know that. We knew that going into this. And but like, what we've been seeing against teams like South Florida, and like, I understand South Florida and LSU are good football teams. I'm not trying to belittle them and like, or anything like that, but like, this has been embarrassing. It's not just bad, it's embarrassing.
It's not good. I'll touch on Fickle here, and then we got some teams in this segment we got to
Yeah.
touch
Oh
on
yeah,
too.
yeah,
The Fickle thing is like, look, he got extended this past offseason. Clearly, him and Chris McIntosh are like have been sent in to destroy Wisconsin because that's clearly what's happening.
yeah.
It's like during like covering the Wisconsin beat, it's like he goes into every press conference and I feel like he says mostly the right things. And then he'll always say one thing where like, oh, this is not going to work. Where he compared playing at Bryant Denny to playing at Kinnick, which I'm like, oh, you are so screwed, brother.
Yeah.
You- and in South Park Imagination Land where they send Kurt Russell into there, he's like,
Yes.
why am I here? It's like you were in that movie that was kind of like this, so that prepares you more than anything else.
You're the most prepared soul here. Oh
I,
God.
Wisconsin, he's like, oh, our guys are ready to play. They don't look over everybody. They've come out for 6 straight quarters to start each game and just been pitiful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they get behind, they can't come back. And that's obviously what happened versus Alabama. It kind of flipped the game on its head there a little bit. But like, you have a must-win game next week versus Maryland,
Hmm.
and Maryland can score points.
Yep.
And if Malik Washington and them and Mike Locksley put up points and Billy Edwards Jr. is on the sidelines, you're not going to beat Michigan at the Big House.
No. Especially now that Michigan's using Bryce Underwood's legs. Shouts to them.
No. And after that, I think you host Iowa and Heartland. And if you lose that, you're gonna do like a quadruple bypass, man. Just keep this guy alive because
Oh
it
yeah.
gets really rough after that. Like for Wisconsin to go to a bowl game, like you got to beat Maryland, you got to beat Washington, you got to beat Iowa at home. And I don't think they're gonna do it.
No, I mean it certainly doesn't look like it. And like obviously we understand that Billy Edwards being out like lowers the ceiling dramatically for this team, but like let's not act like they looked like world beaters with Billy Edwards Jr.
No,
Like that's and like also on top of that, like at any point in Luke Fickell's tenure, they haven't looked good. Like it's
no,
just it's very clear that this isn't taking and like the soon like I honestly like I enjoy Wisconsin football a lot. Like I'm not a Wisconsin fan or anything like that, but like no like Wisconsin has always been to me almost like a like your favorite pillow. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
not flashy, it's probably a little dirty and like not everyone would like it, but you know what? You sleep damn good on it. And like I could always rely on Wisconsin to be there. They're going to run the damn ball, they're going to play good defense and they're going to be a line meat factory. That's what I want from my Wisconsin football. And right now this is just dog ass. Like it's just not good.
Nah, they're supposed to be comfort food, and the dairy has curdled in the
Yeah,
worst way possible.
100%. No cheese curds, just cheese curdling.
No. And what teams are curdling right now?
Bro, we got a lot of teams curdling. First off, I honestly, this isn't the biggest headline, but like I've got to start here because it's so bad. Bro, Kansas State's awful. Like
Yeah.
truly awful. Like Avery Johnson might not be a college football player, not just like a P4. Like I'm talking like go do something other than sports because you might not be able to play this sport.
They kicked Will Howard to the curb for this guy.
Yeah, 100%. And like you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, like yes, like you almost like he was a prized recruit from in-state. Like I understand all the excitement, everything that went into getting him to Manhattan. But at a certain point, like how did you not see that this kid was not it? Like
No,
he's not like even the things that he's supposed to be good at in terms of like using his legs and running, he's a very poor decision maker as a runner. He's not like anything special. Like I could probably name 10 quarterbacks off the top of my head that are more athletically gifted as runners than Avery Johnson. Like there's nothing special about this kid. And on top of that, he can't throw the football. So like we talked about Arizona being like a doormat in the Big 12 this year, and you just went and lost on a Friday night in Tucson. Like that is at that and like on the heels of losing to Army, who lost to Tarleton State, you're in the bad place. There's not an Irish curse, but like I don't know if we you saw this that's been brought up, but like the losing team in Ireland has not gone on to a ton of success, and Kansas State, I I'm a little bit shocked that they're as bad as they are.
yeah, like Florida State in 24, Navy in 23 wasn't very good.
Yeah,
22,
Navy is the best loser of the Ireland game, and they finished that season 5-7.
yeah, and then you had what Nebraska with Scott Frost that was
Yeah,
just awful. Losing
which got overlooked because that was Northwestern going over America. But like, so the winner of that game was actually the worst of the two
God
teams.
bless America here. The worst part with Avery Johnson is he makes Chris Kleiman look bad, and I feel sorry for Chris Kleiman.
Yeah, we know Chris Kleiman's a good coach, man. And I fully expect Kansas State to be back next year with
A transfer quarterback.
yeah, I was about to say a quarterback who is not currently on the roster starting for them.
I don't know who that'd be, but it's not Avery Johnson.
Tell Avery Johnson to transfer to Navy and cut his hair. Like just run the triple. Get out of my face.
Get some structure in your life, man. You're making us long-haired bros look bad.
That's right.
Uh, what a sad bag of crap UCLA is.
Bro, it's so bad.
Maybe that's Deshaun Foster. That's another guy. I mean, I don't know if they're going to fire him right now, but like
They probably should, quite frankly.
Nico, no.
I mean,
Uh,
let me be clear, like Nico is an abject disappointment. There's no doubt about that. I don't think he has a chance at UCLA though. That offensive line is horrible. Like one of the worst I've ever seen. And like the skill position talent around him is non-existent. Like he doesn't have even if he was good, he doesn't have a chance.
no. Like it's like when Coach O's like the sissy blue shirts, like it's looking like that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it really really is.
Yeah, UCLA is the worst team in the Big Ten by a country mile.
Yeah, like New Mexico is not good. I
No,
will give some respect to Jason Eck. He's running something that you do when you are a vaguely or not vague not hold on not unvaguely untalented team, like a very blatantly untalented team, and he's running a creative offense. He's using a lot of gimmicks, but hell, that's what you got to do sometimes. That's why Army and Navy run the triple option and Air Force as well. Like when you are at a talent disadvantage in most matchups that you're going to play, in the service academy's case, you know, you're talking about size, but like when you're at a disadvantage, you have to do things that are creative. And hats off to Jason Eck for doing it. But like UCLA should still not be losing to this team at all.
I saw that New Mexico's got the turquoise jerseys. Wear those every day. Those things are so
Those are
sick.
sick. Those are absolutely sick. I honestly considered buying, truly.
Yeah, dude. It's a wolf. And then I guess Clemson, we've already talked about Florida a bunch. Clemson, Notre Dame, like there's just the playoffs not happening.
No, I mean, I Clemson's going to have an uphill climb. The playing the way they currently are, Clemson's going to have an uphill climb to make the ACC championship game. And like obviously you no longer have the tiebreaker to Georgia Tech. We've already talked about Georgia Tech's schedule and how easy that is. Florida State looks like a vastly superior team. Miami looks like a vastly superior team. I would argue that I mean, at what we haven't seen Clemson look good yet this season. At what point have we seen them look good? You looked bad against Troy. You lost to LSU when your offense couldn't do anything. You lost to Georgia Tech when yes, you made a run to come back in that game, but then you're like, you know, Dabo's decision making helped cost them that game with his time management. Like it was just this team just looks completely lost and rudderless. And I keep coming back to a point I made. I can't remember if it was earlier this week or the week before, but about like the coaching brain drain that Dabo's staff has undergone. And it like nothing about Clemson right now feels cohesive. And you go back to when Clemson was winning national championships and making runs into the playoff in the Dabo Swinney era. And like it may not have always been the prettiest brand of football, and you probably not probably you definitely had more talent at quarterback when you're talking about your Deshaun Watsons, when you're talking about your Trevor Lawrences in comparison to Cade Klubnik. But at the same time, it felt like everyone was rowing in the same direction. Right now, it feels like everyone's rowing in different directions, and like none of this is working together.
Some of them aren't even rowing. I think the most
Yeah,
cohe I think the most cohesive thing that Clemson's got going for it is whatever the hell is going on in the back of Linthicum's head.
absolutely.
He got the F me up fan package at like the the Jamaican hair braiding place the last day of spring break.
Yeah.
Is this appropriation? I don't care. It's my hair. Let's do it. Let's do it, brother.
I'm a Braves
Clemson,
guy now.
Clemson's got two losses. They lost the head-to-head tiebreaker to rival Georgia Tech.
Mhm.
You still got to play at Louisville, who hasn't lost yet, and then you still got to play Palmetto versus a South Carolina team that hasn't really looked apart yet, but like certainly has been more cohesive than you.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't looked the part either, so like I can't use that as the barometer.
No. And then if we go to Notre Dame, like you got two losses here.
Yeah, I have Notre Dame's schedule pulled up, and the big thing for me when I'm looking at this is like there are going to be people who make the argument that a 10-2 Notre Dame is still going to like have a chance at getting in the playoff. I don't think that's possible with this schedule. You lost the
No.
two, you had to win one of your first two games for that to be the case. And now you have, I'm not going to do home and away, but this is just the opponents left on the schedule. Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State, NC State, USC, who might be getting close to being ranked in the top 25. I'll give them that one as a potentially ranked game, but still not like the biggest quality win, not the same caliber as Miami and Texas A&M. Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. Brother, that 10-win resume is not getting you into the college football playoff.
You're lucky if you play two more ranked teams. I would assume
Yeah.
USC will probably, but they could fade up pretty quickly
Yeah,
too.
100%.
And like Boise, I don't know if they got the gravitas to get them that early. Um, I mean, are you seriously banking on Boston College and Pitt being ranked? Because
Yeah.
that might be what needs to happen. I don't think that's happening either.
No, not at all. And like I think Arkansas is actually a pretty good team, but they're not going to be ranked in 2 weeks. Like that's not going to happen.
No, sir.
And honestly, based on what I've seen from Notre Dame's defense in the first two games that they played, Arkansas might be able to beat them.
Yeah, Taylor Green.
Yeah,
He's
man.
everything that Notre Dame wishes Tyler Buckner could be.
That's right.
If Sam Bradford was less good and less brittle, that would be Tyler Buckner.
If Sam Bradford, if Sam Bradford wasn't good at anything, it would be Tyler Buckner.
The eyes and the fear in both their eyes. I mentioned that in a previous show. It's like it's the same
It is
thing.
true. It is, yeah. Just full blown during the headlights constantly.
The only difference is one will make $81 million by quarterback in the NFL, and the other one will make somebody doing something else that's not football.
He'll make like $45,000 in the PLL. Shouts to lacrosse.
And on that note, I'm gonna punt on three quarterbacks here, maybe four. I'm not gonna actually. You know what? Arch might just be ass, so he's not putting him in that category.
Yeah, he,
We
he
just
just
have
might not
to.
be good, man.
We gotta wait and see a little bit more with DJ Lagway, kind of if he gets a new head coach. We got to
Mhm.
see about South Carolina if Lenore Sellers can stay healthy. And Joey Aguilar impressed me a lot for Tennessee. And maybe I'll start with that. I know we've dumped on him a lot. Like, I can't believe this is Tennessee's starting quarterback. He is an SEC starting quarterback. This
Yeah,
guy plays with a lot of confidence. Honestly, I think he's better at Tennessee than Nico ever was.
yeah. I'm look, I've been the biggest Joey Aguilar hater in the entire world throughout this offseason. Like, I'm not gonna deny that. I'm eating crow now because the kid belongs. He so the point I was going to make earlier, but I stopped because I knew we were gonna come around to this at some point. He is like, what if Anthony Colandrea was good? Like there's a lot of whoopsie daisy in his game. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, there's also a lot more playmaking. Like there are a lot of big time throws. And I understand we're talking about Heupel's offense, but you look at all three throws that he made to Chris Brazel today for touchdowns, dude, those were absolute dots. Like where my guy's getting it or no one's getting it. And like that's big time stuff, especially in that game, which I think it's fair to say Joey Aguilar has never seen a moment like that. Like played in a stadium that was that loud, even if it's in support of him. I don't care. It's still discombobulating to play in a stadium that loud. And like situationally, he stepped up and like Joey Aguilar is not the reason that Tennessee lost that game. Aguilar is one of the reasons Tennessee had a chance and probably should have won that game.
I still don't even know how Tennessee lost, really.
Yeah, I don't either, brother.
I, I think they couldn't defend the run effectively is probably the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
I will say on one of the things that shouts to my guy Bud Elliott. He brought it up in the preseason with Tennessee, and it's been like banging around in my head. And I think we saw a little bit of it today, especially as like late in the game, Tennessee's pass rush wasn't as effective as it was early in the game. Tennessee last year, one of the things that made their defense so game wrecking was they had like 6 to 8 guys that they were rotating in constantly on the defensive front. Couple of those guys in the NFL now, and a couple of those guys transferred out. So now you kind of have this set core that is playing a much more larger percentage of snaps. And like I think the way Tim Banks plays defense, and specifically with the way Josh Heupel plays offense, with the hurry up, with the pace that they play with, that rotation that they had really fit their styling. What was one of the reasons Tennessee's defense was able to take the leap that it was. This is still a talented defense, but when you get in a shootout where a game where 85 points are scored, like that defense is going to wear down in a way that Tennessee's defense last year wouldn't have.
I'm gonna be a little mean because
Go
this
ahead,
is
man.
like because I can gloat right now because it's been 9 years, man.
Absolutely.
Um, this is why you can't run an air raid in the SEC or the Big Ten. You
Yeah.
just can't do it because what you said about like the pass rush, the rotation, when you are running an offense that's up tempo, simple speed. So Aguilar will throw picks, but you're also throwing picks to a route tree where it's limited.
Yeah.
And Ellis Robinson did not play good, apparently. Aguero did not play well either.
No.
Bull did
I
okay.
will say Aguero's pick was hella nice. That was a good
Yeah.
that was a great play on the ball there. But looked like he tried to do that about two more times and missed completely.
So kind of like when you're scoring like this, you're not helping your defense out. Georgia's like, we're going to slow it down. We're going to ready it up. So maybe the pass rush can't come in as much because you're on the field too much with less guys.
Mhm.
Stockton did get hit a little bit. He did fumble the ball. Didn't really help that Georgia's offensive line's not particularly great right now, but like that matters. And then it's also like, when you are running an air raid, you got to inflict pain on the other team.
Mhm.
And I could tell towards the end there, Tennessee was starting to feel it a little bit physically,
Yeah.
whereas Georgia was willing to give it to them. And that's kind of like why they ultimately had that punch in the end. And it wasn't by much. This is about as good as Tennessee's played Georgia in about a decade. I'll give them a lot of credit. They're going to beat some teams here, but like
Oh yeah.
when you're going up against a team where their biggest issue is not depth, this is what happens.
No, 100%. But again, to like the original point, none of that is on Joey Aguilar. Joey
No,
Aguilar did his job today. And like, frankly, I did not think Joey Aguilar was going to be able to do his job this season. So
no.
kudos to him. He's like we're gonna put like don't put this game on him, and B, like I am now excited to see what Joey Aguilar can accomplish in this offense, which is not a place that I was in, 3 weeks ago.
No, like right from the jump, like, oh, this is different. Yeah, this is legit. He's going to do this versus other teams, and he's going to win a lot of games for them, and they'll be in and around the playoff mix if they play like this.
100%. Yeah. I mean, like I have Tennessee not dropping outside of the top 20 after this week because
And I think,
I don't think they
yeah,
should.
South Carolina might.
I have South Carolina dropping out of the top. I have the top 25 entirely, brother.
Lenore Sellers can't do everything. It's very clear that Mike Shula was an awful hire.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and like Clayton White's defense can't do everything. And again, this is the Shane Beamer thing where you're like a wide receiver or a tight ends coach. Like you're a CEO type.
Mhm.
You're only as good as your coordinators allow you to be.
Yeah. I mean, the loss of Dow Loggins definitely seems like a big one. And like, I'm going to punt on South Carolina because like, we don't know what Lenora Sellers' like timeline is right now, but like, I don't know if they're gonna be able to recover from this. We've talked about this. Like when you look at their schedule, Vanderbilt was a game that you were probably counting as a win, and They have a lot of tough games coming up down the stretch. In fairness, Clemson looks a lot less tough than it once did. But
You still got
like,
to play Alabama and Tennessee and
yeah, I mean,
LSU.
the
Yeah.
SEC
Ole
schedule
Miss.
is
Yeah.
brutal, and if Lenora Sellers misses any of those key games, like this team is screwed because, like I said it earlier, like this offense is not functional without Lenora Sellers, and like I mean, they were trailing when Lenora Sellers got hurt, so like that shows you the fragility that we're talking about with the Gamecocks anyway. But like, man, I mean, I enjoy watching Lenora Sellers play football, so I want him to be healthy. But like, if you're a South Carolina fan, like you better be on your hands and knees, prayers, doing seances, whatever the hell you want to do, because if this is anything that keeps him out more than the rest of this game that he missed, like you got no chance.
Three more things before we go on to Lagway and wrap up here. I know it's super
Yeah,
late here because that's just how it goes. Shout out to the live dog, Diego Pavia, putting a
dude.
block on a guy. Diego Pavia. Hell yeah.
Did just we should have mentioned him and the quarterbacks that are just dudes
Yeah.
like him, absolutely him. But like I think that's just implied at this point from us. But like he is absolutely him. Like the dude's just a football player. I again like you watch him throw a deep pass in this offense, and it's like, my God, that's pretty ugly. Like it's not a spiral, it's like 10 feet over the receiver's head. And I'm just like, Jesus, man, what are you doing? But then you watch him the next play, and he's throwing a lead block for his wide receiver, getting the ball in a reverse. You watch him like run through the defense and like not take and like take a ton of contact. He is just he's a pleasure. Just an absolute pleasure to watch play football.
God, is he like a biology major too? Like I think it's something.
I think he's majoring in Broadway currently,
Uh, got to keep them separated. That's what you got
that's
to do.
right.
So the last two parts are with Sellers. I don't know if this has crossed your mind. Maybe one of these ideas have. What we've seen so far out of him leads me to believe he's not going to be turning pro after this season. I
No.
don't think that he's had enough starts. I think the offense has been a little bit too erratic. There's enough doubt where he's not going to be a first round pick. I don't know if that's fine. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if this is what South Carolina's offense is going to be, and I know he's in state, maybe you transfer.
Mm.
I don't want him to do that, but like,
Hmm.
I don't trust Shula with this guy.
No, I don't either. And I think, I would hope that Lenore Sellers is smart enough that if he still thinks the South Carolina situation is good and Beamer makes the decision to move on from Mike Shula and hire someone else, then maybe he sticks around. But that's not a bad call. I don't hate that at all. That would require Dabo to use the transfer portal in a way that he definitely has not before, because that would be a huge ask of him.
No, I mean he leaves. I don't even know where he would go. Maybe not Clemson, but like he goes somewhere
I thought
else.
you
I'm
said
trying.
in state. I'm sorry.
No, I know he's in. I know like he's from South
Oh,
Carolina.
I apologize. I apologize. I thought you were saying staying in state in the portal.
No, go play for Chris. Go play for Chris Kleiman and win the Big 12.
Dude, go play for Lane Kiffin. How about that?
I'm trying to think who'd be gone, who would need somebody that doesn't have anybody waiting in the wing. I
Miami.
mean, Miami, that would work. I mean, we know when Nuss is gone, it's going to be Van Buren with
Yeah.
LSU, so that's off the table. But like, yeah, go to Arkansas.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Get you some racks of ribs, baby.
And I don't know what the hell is going on with DJ Lagway. 5 picks. You were so right there. The lack of practice he's had this offseason, it's just we gotta stop anointing these people before they play.
Hmm.
We did it with Arch. We did it with him. We're gonna keep doing it because that's what we do as a society that drives me effing crazy, and I can't stand it anymore. And yes, two of those picks weren't on him, but some of the earlier ones absolutely were, and it looked like he was still playing in high school.
No, 100%. And like, the kid is obviously talented. Like, you see some of the plays he still makes, like in the midst of all of this crap that Billy Napier has going on in Gainesville right now, or Baton Rouge tonight, excuse me. But like, you look at all this crap that's going on there, and like there's still moments where you're like, oh my God, like there's like maybe five quarterbacks in college football that can make that play. And like that is in there, but like like I feel comfortable punting on this because like I need to see him in a situation where he's not like not only the anointing part, but I think the other part that really bothers me is like he's being set up to fail right now. Like, and like it's not just the like it's more than just the Napier scheme, which is getting obviously predictable with the way tonight played out. But like beyond that, like putting him in this situation where he hasn't practiced and like hasn't had the reps with these guys that you brought in, and like there's no way that's going to work out. Like I don't like that. It's just such a dysfunctional like methodology for building your football team and building up a quarterback and building up his confidence. Instead, you're killing his confidence. So you get these plays at the end of the game where like he's throwing the ball up like he looks like he doesn't give an S at all. Like he's throwing it up like it doesn't matter to him anymore. And like truly, like I think the most damning thing for Florida and Billy Napier right now is that like Lagway and this entire team looks like they quit. By the end of that
Yeah.
LSU game, like it was a 10-point game. Like let's not forget that. It was a 10-point game and it looked like they were mailing it in.
There are plays in that game where like it looked like the bad kind of Justin Fields. Anytime I see that, I'm kind
Hmm.
of it's a major cause for concern. It's like there you could do a lot, but when it really matters, you're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Justin Fields in the NFL with like the Bears, the
Yeah, yeah,
Steelers,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Jets now, though he played well with the Jets week 1, but that's neither here nor there. The other thing with Lagway is like you committed to this. Florida was not ready at this point for your talent coming out of high school. And again, I don't know what your ties were. I don't know if you're from Florida or whatnot, but like this is like Ben Simmons playing at LSU. It's like you're not equipped to handle this right now. The program's not ready for it.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know if he has like familial ties like Dylan Raiola does to Nebraska. I didn't think Nebraska was ready for it, but they're kind of sort of making it work.
I'm
It
pretty
just
sure his only ties to Florida are the massive amount of NIL dollars that they were willing to give him.
DJ Lagway.
Yeah,
Let's
he's from
see.
Texas. Um, yeah, I'm not seeing any ties to Florida here.
No. Okay, so Willis, Texas is like where he's from.
His dad played at Baylor.
Go play there, man. Like they have
Yeah,
money.
yeah, 100%. Sawyer Robertson might be going to the NFL if he keeps playing the way he is. So hell yeah.
Just didn't want to get a wake up, I guess.
I mean, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
If they were not the Branch Davidians and they were the Branch Dorikians, I'd be there.
Yes, of course.
Yes, I got to get out of here with this. I did watch Judas My Car the other day with the fiance. It was amazing.
Dude, it's such a good movie.
It's so dumb. I'm like, are these people in high school or college? Like, or they should be in college, but they're not. It's kind of the vibe I had.
They're like, it's one of those things like back in the 90s, like nowadays when you watch a movie and like they don't make comedies like that anymore anyway, but even if they did, like you would have like a very like detailed backstory to like explain who these people are because that's just kind of the way films are made now. There was like a period in the mid to late 90s where like they left it so ambiguous to where like these guys could be anywhere from 18 to like 34 and like no you had no idea. And it was a really beautiful time.
They they live in the house with a guy who lived in the basement who only came up once a day to piss in the flower pot.
Yeah.
They're making money as pizza delivery boys in like a house. I'm like, no, this economy, but it was a different time back in the 90s or the 2000s.
Dude, 100 like I the other night I watched Half Baked and like
Yeah,
it's the same way. Like I have no idea how like they have jobs so I know they're like out of high school, but like outside of that, they could be 20 to 40. Like I have no idea.
Abbott Dabbas.
That's
It
right.
it
Guy on
should
couch,
be.
you gotta try this.
But does anybody know what it looks like?
That's
This was 3 yards in a cloud of punt here after week 3 here on False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter or the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us a 5-star review, 1 star for each pick that DJ Lagway threw today.
that's right. I'm putting it in the microphone so it's really loud.
Yeah. You can't see it, you can hear it, but it's unbelievable, dude. Uh,
We need to get off here so I can edit this and go to sleep, brother. I'm dying.
don't be dying like K-State and Clemson's playoff bids. Notre Dame too, because yeah, you fuck got.